It isn't acceptable for a grandchild of this family to have such a bad behavior. My grandmother walked her cane on the floor in anger. My mother next to me slowly said, "The trainees there come from more than 16 different countries. They paid $50,000 for 6 weeks of training." A patrician has to spend money to learn noble manners from people who are not nobles. Where has all your intelligence gone, Jane? This is ridiculous. I don't. All right, stop. Bring the child here. My grandmother interrupted and waved her hand to sign my mother to leave the room. Please like and subscribe and listen to my story. Hi, I'm 17 years old LaDonna, living on a ranch in Manhattan. That was the conversation between my grandmother, the current head of the family, and my mother, her daughter-in-law. They were talking about my cousin Kaylin. The granddaughter is forgotten or even estranged just because her parents were married against the wishes of the family. Before saying a word, since it's 2002 now, and love or marriage is completely free, but this does not apply to us. We come from a long line of nobles that originated in Bedfordshire before moving to other lands. It's been decades, but we've never forgotten our roots and have always operated in the manner of the old nobility. That's why when we saw a video of Kaylin with extremely passionate movements in a street dance group, my grandmother got furious. And just like that, as she said, Kaylin will move in with us a bit to get her attitude straightened out. After my mother left, my grandmother called me in and told me, "Always been my proudest child since you were little, Adonna." Yes, ma'am. I believe that being close to you can set an example for her. Kaylin could become a real honorable lady instead of the ridiculous expressions she used to be. I felt a glow of pride as I heard she said, "Because of this, trust I will do my best to make Kaylin as favorite as I am." The day Kaylin finally came, as I waited to greet Kaylin, I heard continuous exclamations of a girl from a distance. I probably guessed that was definitely Kaylin. "Oh, wow! Isn't this place beautiful? This house is so big, just like a castle." What is this girl saying? This is exactly a castle. Just look at this garden. It's like a flower park. It's our rose garden. Oh my God! What now? Couldn't stand watching Kaylin irregular action any longer. I raised my voice. "Nice to meet you, Kaylin. I'm your cousin LaDonna." "You're the model LaDonna? You look even cuter in real life." Huh? Oh my, what's the model LaDonna about? And what's wrong with her voice? I sighed inwardly. Well, it's the first day anyway. I'll try to help her correct her manners one by one. It's lucky for her that I saw her first. Imagine if all that actions and behavior were caught by my grandmother. She'll definitely be scolded so bad. I reminded her, "When you meet Grandma and other sisters later, please greet them gently." "Oh, I heard that you are fluent in 5 languages, LaDonna. You're also very good at art and piano." Don't interrupt me like that. I cleared my throat, kept my composure, and continued. "You also need to pay attention when you walk." "Oh, you do know a lot about poetry, don't you?" All right. I think I should put this aside and have a serious talk with Kaylin later. You'll meet some of the adults in the family at afternoon tea. Choose a dress that looks elegant. Maybe now you should take a rest after a long trip. No need for that. I'm so excited. After that, I skipped the lunch break to tell Kaylin all about the origin as well as the operating principles of the afternoon tea party. Don't worry, I totally got this. Are you sure? Definitely. Her answer reassured me somewhat. It's unbelievable when the tea party started and Kaylin appeared in a white tracksuit. She looks so energetic and fresh in the outfit, but it's not the thing she should wear at a tea party. I became quite concerned when I saw that since my grandmother, the matriarch of the family, had a bad previous image of Kaylin. How could Kaylin possibly win her sympathy? Good afternoon, ma'am. You're much prettier in person than in picture. That I almost didn't recognize you. Nice to meet you, Kaylin. You look lovely too. Do you know that? Your rose garden was the first thing I noticed when I arrived. They were so gorgeous that I had to spend hours watching them. My father told me that you look after the flowers yourself, right? You're such an excellent gardener. What is Kaylin saying? I think she really needs some classes on how to give subtle compliments besides walking. Good afternoon, Aunt Jane. I saw some of your floral art, and I was surely impressed. Now, she turned to my mother among every remarkable achievement. Kaylin has praised my mother's very ordinary personal hobby. You're so energetic, Kaylin. My mother smiled. As she greeted each member of the family individually, Kaylin grinned broadly and appeared to respond in a relaxed way by all adults. She became the center of attention at the tea party, and everyone else eventually became engrossed in Kaylin's tales while completely ignoring her misbehavior. I thought every next day would be so difficult for Kaylin since she seldom followed the rules. Kaylin, look at the way I act and act similarly. You can't make that sound when you're eating, and your back should always be straight. Kaylin, let's stroll eloquently in front of them. You must be careful when posing for the camera, because everyone can see your picture in any publication. Equestrian clothing must also be prepared carefully. It took me a lot of time to guide and adjust Kaylin's gestures, but she didn't seem to care, so there wasn't any improvement. Kaylin even skipped classes with a private tutor to practice her erotic dance moves. In response to my efforts to help, Kaylin asked again, "Don't you think you're being too hard on yourself, LaDonna?" I was brought up and taught to act like a proper lady from an early age, so Kaylin disobeying my orders and following her natural instincts is totally inappropriate. Look at Kaylin. She looks so alive. My grandmother said while watching Kaylin from afar, "This child is so active." My mother agreed. After hearing them, I turned my face staring in that direction to see Kaylin playing in the fountain while rolling up her jeans with Fiona, the puppy a friend gave my grandmother. Even though Kaylin didn't have a ladylike appearance, they seemed pleased to meet her. I'll serve a homemade cake to the entire family today. We're looking forward to it, Kaylin. Grandma beamingly grinned. Everyone look! The pizza I prepared myself with all the ingredients in the garden. Oh! My grandmother seemed a little surprised. Let's not sit at the dinner table. Let's sit on the sofa and watch a comedy together. I have everything prepared. Kaylin was very excited to bring the cake in front of each person. Use your hands, that's right, Kaylin said. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It is my mother and grandmother who had always been stringent about how the family's kids and grandkids behave. I once received punishment for spending 2 hours outside simply because I dropped a spoon during a family lunch. You did a great job, Kaylin. My praises have lessened since Kaylin moved in. Instead, my grandmother now enjoys watching her run around the estates every day. Not all rich people are noble. When you are lucky enough to be born into this family, you must know how to behave and perform to be worthy of your bloodline. That's what she told me, and I've always worked hard to be a lady in her eyes. Let Kaylin attend the party to welcome politicians and other noble families when it arrives. Saying these words means that she finally accepted the actual Kaylin and forgave her parents. Before, when Uncle Patrick fell in love with Miss Bridget, a wealthy businesswoman who came from a working family, My whole family protested and my grandmother abandoned him because of this. But after only a few weeks of coming here, Kaylin has made my grandmother love and accept her normal family habits and lifestyle of her that makes no sense. So what have I learned and listened to for the past 17 years? I told Kaylin, in such parties, each of us will put on a show to warm up the atmosphere. Really? What did you perform? Previously, I played a solo piano piece. Elizabeth sang an opera, and everyone was encouraged to perform what they did best. Grandma highly recommends it. So what should I do then? Choose what you did best. Just like I thought, Kaylin was constantly practicing her sexy dance, which I saw every time she skipped class. How could she have such innocent thoughts? This was a formal party with famous families attending. My mother stopped by and asked me when Kaylin suddenly appeared on a stage in a body-hugging outfit. What is she doing, LaDonna? She looks bewildered. I do not know. Maybe a surprising performance? Meanwhile, my grandmother was talking with a guest and saw Kaylin like that. Her smiling face stunned. Before Kaylin could even give any signal to her music player, her maid dragged her down on the floor. That night, my grandmother called Kaylin into her room. I was taught not to eavesdrop, but I still couldn't help my curiosity. It's a pity that the soundproof door is quite good, so I can only hear a few words. So disappointed. Disgrace of the family. A clown. My heart beat fast and strong unusually to hear these words. We were taught to act calmly and politely even when we were angry. Those words I never heard when scolding Kaylin. It was beyond my imagination. I saw Kaylin run out the door. She sat down by the fountain crying all night, and no one ever noticed. Her miserable look made me realize how bad I was. LaDonna, did you remember the family spirit? My mother asked. Although we're one of the 10 richest families, all our descendants are always educated like that. True nobility is not about money, but ennoble dignity, integrity, not self-interest, not afraid of difficulties, even sacrificing oneself for others. That is the spirit that values honor. I did something I've never done before, climbing into the fountain and pacing back and forth with rocks beside the crying Kaylin. Kaylin was the first to speak up. I can't become a true noble as everyone wants. I sat down next to Kaylin. I lost its spirit when I was selfish, jealous of everyone's love for you. I should have reminded you instead of implicitly encouraging an action that would make me look ridiculous in others' eyes. Kaylin was surprised. Why? You still haven't learned any rules and don't follow any manners. But Grandma always cheerful and doesn't scold a bit. My mother once punished me just because my grandmother found out that I ate more than one piece of a cake and blamed her for not educating me well. I'm only praised for trying to do things I don't like and pretending, and your love for being who you are. No, LaDonna, that's not me. I don't like all the running and jumping as everyone knows when I come here. I have to find about each person's hobbies to pretend to praise. I don't like flowers and I don't know how to bake cakes. It's just that it's easier than having to learn the rules. So I did. Every day, I have to think about how to please everyone. But before coming here, I have heard a lot about you. Grandma's beloved child. I am afraid of being overshadowed by you, so I always try to act differently to get people's attention. Unbelievably, while I envy Kaylin for being loved for who she was trying to be, she feels the opposite of me. We both look at what we don't have in each other. I'm sorry, Kaylin. No, I was too confident in myself when everyone took care of me these days. I just assumed that whatever I did would be liked. We're ridiculous, trying to show things we don't want to. It's ridiculous indeed. Kaylin, why don't we meet Grandma and talk about our true thoughts? Becoming a noble isn't only about gestures and poses. The skills we are taught are only meant to cultivate moral character. Both Kaylin and I forgot about that and hid our true selves. Kaylin held out her hand. Let's go. I'm starting to feel the cold water. I giggled. Let's go. I think afternoon tea in a tracksuit will probably be very comfortable.